Kirkua, Jerome, Ezekiel, Cousins, the Tin Pot Pizza Ranch dictator is a lightning rod of controversy amongst Minnesota Vikings fans. Oh, he's overrated. Oh, it's not his fault. Blah, 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 blah. And Kwesi Adofo-Mensah and Kevin O'Connell, they hitched their initial wagon to Kirk Cousins, signing that one-year extension, $35 million guaranteed, no trade clause also put back in there. But what were they going to do? And with Kirk Cousins, we've always called a spade a spade. When he initially signed his 3-year, $84 million fully guaranteed deal, it was like, it's a little much. And then 2018 and 2019, very marginal, especially 2018. His first 6 games of 2020 were ass. Thank you, right? So, except that he stepped up last season, as well as the end of 2020. He was not the problem last year. The Vikings, 8-9, had a lot more dysfunction on the defensive side of the ball. So, it's whatever. So, the Vikings this offseason, were they going to do better than Kirk? Outside of pie in the sky, trading for Russ, Probably not. So, and the new regime wasn't ready to turn things over to a rookie or Kellen Mond, who's untested. So, I understand. I get it. I do get why they hitched their wagon to Kirk Cousins, even though some of the fan base, not so much. But analytics is back in Kirk Cousins. So, computer cowboy Ben Baldwin, a very well-respected analytics football mind. He had an interesting thread last week. Wanted to walk through it, and there's some nuggets and tidbits that are just like, So, Ben Baldwin, go. Kirk Cousins is an above-average NFL starting quarterback. So, damning him with faint praise, but also it's hard to get an above-average NFL quarterback. How many teams have talent on their squad, but they just can't get it right at the quarterback position? Look at the Niners. So, he continues. Computer Cowboy, Nick Foles and Matthew Stafford won Super Bowls just in the last 5 seasons. It's fair. Lots of quarterbacks can win Super Bowls. It just depends on how many things need to go right around them. Then he responded to, then why would they give him the contract? He responded, Cousins graded as a top 10 quarterback in each of past 3 seasons. He's not the problem. The Vikings did a terrible job of building a team around him, which would point to replacing the head coach GM instead of moving on from Cousins, which is exactly what they did. It's sort of fair, where the Vikings offensive line, pass protection-wise, while Kirk Cousins was there, hell, while Keenum was there, hell, while Bradford was there, hell, while Teddy was there, not so much. And then he continues. Responding to, Kirk disappears in the biggest moments, which is complete opposite of these two when they won a Super Bowl. LOL. I agree that Cousins wasn't present in the biggest moments of the Viking season, which were when the defense blew a late lead that the offense had given them. I mean, he's not wrong. Where it feels like we've turned into a bit of a Kirk Cousins apologist. That's not true. We're just calling a spade a spade. Again, was it Kirk Cousins' fault that Dalvin fumbled in Cincinnati? No, those were referees. Was it Kirk Cousins' fault that Greg Joseph shanked the field goal against the Cardinals? Was it Kirk Cousins' fault that Cooper Rush marched down the field and scored the game-winning touchdown for the Cowboys? Was it Kirk Cousins' fault that the Vikings couldn't get a stop on defense, couldn't stop the run against the Ravens? Now, was it Kirk Cousins' fault that Jared Goff just marched 75 yards and the 2-point conversion for the dagger at Detroit? This ain't Detroit, man. This is a Super Bowl. You're stretching logic. And I understand. We said this before. Once inertia takes hold, it's hard to break those habits just because you get used to it. So in 2018, Kirk Cousins was the problem, and his contract was the problem. But now, Kirk Cousins was not the issue last year. He was, frankly, a good quarterback. Justin friggin' Jefferson is the first and only wide receiver in NFL history to have 3,000 yards in his first 2 seasons. He wasn't catching balls from Sean Mannion, except for one game. But this is a weird spot where it feels like we're defending Kirk Cousins, but we're just trying to be as objective and accurate as possible. Continues. The Vikings paid $4 million in dead money to kickers in 2021. Dan Bailey and Britton Skullquit, but somehow the difference between Cousins getting $31 million versus like $25 million is going to hamstring them. I don't really buy this. Well, cap is a myth, as always, and Kirk is the easiest target because he does have the largest cap hit. He continues. Last tweet on this. Look at what happened to Cousins' previous team, Washington. This is a fair point. They've been completely irrelevant for the last 4 seasons and will be again in 2022, probably even longer. Quarterback wasteland is bad. Why would a new regime willingly sign up for that? Which is fair, where Kellen Mond could be good. Rookie quarterback TBD could be good, but you know what you have in Kirk Cousins. And you can walk and chew gum at the same time. Kevin O'Connell can work with Kirk Cousins, elevate his game to the highest level possible, and he can develop Kellen Mond, and he can develop rookie quarterback TBD. He can do that. Continues. Over the past 3 seasons, Minnesota's pass protection has ranked number 25, 29, and 27 in PFF grade. During that time, the Vikings' pass offense has been 6th best by EPA, expected points per something. I don't know. Something that was created by people much smarter than me, per dropback. If that's not good enough, what exactly is reasonable expectation? Vikings and Seahawks were in a very similar situation. Franchise quarterbacks who led very good passing offenses but didn't win due to poor roster construction coaching. Seahawks picked head coach GM over the quarterback. Bad. Vikings kept the quarterback and replaced the GM head coach, and their fans are upset. I mean, that's sort of fair. Where speaking of PFF, here's one that's just going to pour gasoline on that fire. PFF Vikings tweeted out, Kirk Cousins is tied with Patrick Mahomes. Perhaps you've heard of him. Yeah, Pat Mahomes kid, Twins reliever number 20, for 5th highest passing grade, including playoffs since 2019, 90.5. So 2019 season, including the 2020 season where he was asked the first 6 weeks of the year, and 2021. So, yeah, it's just one of those spots where it's a bit of cognitive dissonance. Like, we gotten used to crapping on Kirk, and also it's very easy. Hey, 3rd down, check down for what? Check down Charlie. Why don't you throw a pass to Sticks? Well, part of it could be play design. Part of it could be receivers not getting open. Part of it could be offensive line. Part of it, yes, could be Kirk Cousins being risk adverse, but Kevin O'Connell's got to address that. Hey, he's like, hey, Kirky, we're going to design plays. We're going to get things open. We're going to do this and that. You have to go through your progressions. You have to get the ball to Johnny on the spot. And we know that Kirk Cousins can be that guy, because arm talent has never been the issue with Kirk. Accuracy at times has never been an issue with Kirk. It's usually a lot of Charlie skedaddle in the pocket and some decision making when he's under duress. If you fix the offensive line and if you keep him out of bad situations where Kevin O'Connell knows his man, I think that Kirk Cousins can be. He's traditionally been a top 10, top 12 quarterback. I think that he could be a top 5 and possibly top 2 quarterback in the NFC, dare I say, mainly because all the good quarterbacks are in the AFC, but that's whatever there. And again, just going back to this, well, Kirk Cousins is a stat stuffing quarterback. But hey, quarterback wins is not a stat. Quarterback wins is an indicator. Generally, hey, if you get good quarterback play, generally going to win games. But that wasn't always the case with the Vikings in 2021. Kirk was top 10 in basically all of the quarterback metrics outside of QBR. And also he was 2nd in the league in 4th quarter, come from behind victories and game-winning drives. And guess what? He would have had a lot more. He would have had a lot more than 4 if the Bengals game and the Cardinals game and the Cowboys and the Ravens and the Lions games held up, etc. So, I don't know. We reached a weird spot, a weird zenith with Kirk Cousins where we're kind of defending him. But it's not so much that. It's the Vikings. I understand they couldn't have done better this offseason, and part of that was they had to extend him because he couldn't play at a $45 million cap hit. It just is what it is at that point. And I do have faith that Kevin O'Connell, if they can fix the offensive line, Kwesi, just get it going, man. JC Treader, and then head into the draft. And if they can get some semblance of protection up front, and Kevin O'Connell's offensive acumen coming over from the Rams, and as well as getting Justin Friggin Jefferson some Cooper Kupp type volume, Adam Thielen is back with a vengeance. Irv Smith Jr. is back with a vengeance. Dalvin has a lot to prove. I think that this could be a top tier offense, and Kirk Cousins can be, dare I say, one of the better quarterbacks in the National Football League. You can win a Super Bowl with Kirk Cousins. I said it. Ben Baldwin agrees. Anyways, let us know your thoughts on our thoughts, on their thoughts. Analytics backs Kirky boy. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work, put a little something in the Venmo. But until next time, Skol, production value.